talk about it a little bit. We noticed some people struggle with off-flank play. One of the main things about it is generally most teams put 2 people on an off-flank. Depending on the map, some do 3, and it all really depends on your strategy in the map. Those 2 people have to be, I don't know, pretty on top of it. They have to have good communication, and they have to have a good awareness of the game. Because if those 2 screw up, you're likely going to be outnumbered, or the balance of the map is going to shift a little bit. So, we really just kind of wanted to focus on that. Now, who here, I guess a few people wanted to be shot callers, and the idea is that you'd put an off-flank shot caller kind of as a practice, because they get to learn a little bit, but they're only managing 1 or 2 people. The reality of it, too, though, is it's a pretty serious role, because you're in charge of just 2 people. As I said earlier, if you screw up, or you guys, go too aggressive too early, and you both die, it's a really big detriment to the team. So I opened up a WoW's Tactics page I have on the stream here, too. I'll put a quick link to it as well, so I can show everybody can kind of go and watch it live if they wish as well. But really just watch the stream.
We also have some good examples too. If I can find the link here when I get out of World of Warships. During our Alpha Bravo battles, I think me and Kozuro held a flank, just the 2 of us and our cruisers, against I think 3 people. And the communication that me and Kozuro had was a pretty good example of what you have to do when you're working with your off-flank buddy. Just you're basically fighting your own little battle together. And making sure that both of you know what the plan is, what happens if you get spotted, who's going to focus fire, who's going to, if you're going to retreat and stealth up, stuff like that. It involves a lot of clear, consistent communication between you and the person you're fighting with.
So I'm going to pick a few ship lineups here, and this doesn't necessarily mean, this is our plan or what. This is kind of just what I see a lot of teams running. And Zhao and Hindenburg complement each other pretty well on an off-flank. The kind of general idea is you want to have one person kind of doing the spotting or the early detection to see if enemies are coming. This is where RPF also is really huge. This is why a lot of clans, and especially us, were big proponents to Zhao's running radio location. And you can really communicate things, and you don't even have to talk to communicate it. You'll just see map pings. If you watch any of our clan battles videos or anybody else, it's not a secret tactic. But say these 2 people, these guys are a team. They're a solid team. They're out on their own. It's just them, right? You'll see them just ping an area of the map occasionally, one of them. Usually the Hindenburg doesn't have radio location. And we don't need to talk over our other buddies at the other flank. There's usually going to be more of them, so they're going to need more communication. So you could just ping, and if I see the ping, our radio location is just sitting here, I can kind of just say that it's not moving. And then all of a sudden I notice the radio location moved here. That I want to ping and maybe even mention that to my off-flank buddy to let him know, hey, radio location has moved. Especially if it's moving closer towards them or in a position that might be, make you guys vulnerable. You want your buddy to know that. And the other thing you kind of notice too with this position is they're not right next to each other. Off-flank buddies that are sitting right next to each other like this, if you think about it, ships come at them. If there's just 2 ships, they're all Hindenburgs, but classic Gresky ruining the thing. So a few ships come around.
You want to split the enemy's fire. You want them to have to focus on one or the other, and you want yourselves to have your crossfire on the enemy. And if the fire's coming from the same direction, you're just giving them one thing to angle against. If the fire's coming from 2 directions, they have to pick someone to angle against, and then the person they don't angle against is the one who can hit them hard.
I'm sorry to interrupt. What are you guys looking at something? Because I don't. Is there a link?
It's in Adopt Announcements.
Adopt Announcements.
But it's also on the stream. So if you just want to watch the stream, you can do that too.
What's the stream? How do I find it?
It's in Adopt Announcements. There's a link.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, go back.
So yeah. So right here, if you see these 2, if 2 ships just came around the corner, say one's they came at them like this, and I'll even angle them because this is what you actually might see in a game. if these two ships are, say they're even angled differently, they're both ready to kite even, right? Because that's something we've been trying to drill into people's brains is the act of kiting, where they can get away quickly. No matter what you do, you want to be able to get to safety as fast as you can. So right here, if these two were to get attacked by these two ships, there's not really much they could do with them being right next to each other, right? Look at their lines of fire. Just straight on, bow on enemies. In the long run, they're really not going to do too much to each other. The fight's going to be kind of just a shit show and come down to RNG and luck. And maybe if there's a battleship cross-map getting cross-shots, things like that will make it. You never want to take a fair fight in clan battles or just World of Warships in general. Always take an unfair fight in your favor, and you'll do pretty good. So to make that happen, what we like to do in a lot of other clans, again, this is nothing secret to us, is you spread each other out. That way, if these two red ships come across at them, they move forward, the Zhao moves up, Hindenburg might even move down. When they get here, it might even be the Zhao's fighting alone for a little bit, but the Zhao has stealth, so the Zhao can go dark usually, and it's a pretty quick ship. Henry is its biggest threat because if it gets close enough, it can just run it down. So when they come here on the Zhao, especially if this Hindenburg is smart and stays quiet and doesn't get spotted, boom, this Hindenburg has both of these broadsides. And what you'll often see is this Hindenburg will get a big health chunk out of one of these ships, and then maybe they'll kill that ship. If not, you guys need to call a focus fire. So the Hindenburg said, hey, I'm going to be getting shots on this guy. Let's take him down. The Zhao now switches his focus fire over to this ship, and now this ship is going to die really quickly. And you can really just ignore this other ship over here. So once that ship is out, or maybe that you guys don't kill that ship, either way, what you'll then see is they try to angle against one of you, and they can't angle against both of you. So they have the choice, do I angle to go bow onto the Hindenburg, which in that case will give a good broadside to the Zhao, or do I angle to give a go angle towards the Zhao, and then you give a broadside to the Hindenburg. No matter what they do, they have to choose a situation that sucks for them no matter what. You got to try to think of situations where you can force yourself to have the upper hand.
Another good thing to see on an off flank is knowing when one of you needs to take the hits and when the other one needs to back off and heal up. Especially if you're playing like a stealthy ship like Zhao, where you can kind of pick and choose when you want to engage. If say those two cruisers move up and the Hindenburg opens fire, and all of a sudden the Hindenburg's getting focused down really hard, the Zhao player in the Zhao can start playing very aggressively, and maybe this is a little bit advanced, but you can even just give him a good broadside for 30 seconds, give him something to shoot at, give him a reason to switch target, anything you can do to sort of get rid of that focus fire. Focus fire kills ships quicker than anything else in clan battle. Communicate with your buddy, be like, hey, I'm in the Hindenburg, I'm taking too many hits, I need to go dark, can you kind of take over the aggressive position for a while, let me heal up and reposition.
Yeah, exactly. So,
or just be the Kozuro and stay behind me and take 0 damage the entire game.
Kozuro, what
So
do you have
I
to
have
say?
a question
Yes.
about this. So say we find ourselves in the position right now of those two red cruisers. What should we do that would be the best to disengage? Should we go dark, or how should we escape?
If you can go dark, go dark. If you can't, which likely is going to be the scenario, if you've pushed up that far, you probably can't go dark. The best thing you could do is angle towards the ship that's likely to do the most damage to you in whatever scenario that may be, and focus fire. The worst thing that happens that we've done to screw up, other clans have done to screw up, is they both are trying to shoot at two different ships, and ships don't die as fast.
In this particular case, imagine that this is both. Let's say the one that closest to the Hindenburg is another Hindenburg, and the other one is a Zhao, sort of the same composition. In this case, what I would actually do is angle more against the Zhao than the Hindenburg, because the Hindenburg has good AP, but only if it really catches you in a straight-on broadside. And the Zhao can do a lot of damage to you as well, but it will do damage over time, fires and good AP shots if it lands it. So I'd actually angle more towards the Zao. And at this point, if the Hindenburg was exposed and sitting broadside like this, or even, maybe even he's bow in, like he can't escape, you focus on the Hindenburg in this case because he's your DPM ship. He's the one who's most exposed. If he's turned in, he also has no way out. He's stuck there. And you kill him. And then if you've killed that Hindenburg, that Zhao is done. He can't engage. He can't win a 2v1 if you guys are on top of your game. He's gotta you can chase him down if you want, or you can just leave him alone. Because he's not gonna help his teammate.
I've got a question.
Yes.
Sure.
If you're going to be tanking on the off flank with a Hindenburg, and you have islands obviously that you can use for concealment, I know that concealment is king in clan battles, but would the legendary mod make sense just for better survival?
No.
At that point, if you're
No.
not,
Concealment's everything.
Also, you guys should try to keep track over some games and just see how much actual DOT damage you take in cruisers. Unless you play very differently to how I do, you probably don't take the majority of your damage from fires. I take like maybe 10,000 damage from fires in a bad game.
One thing to talk about in clan battles is that you probably should be speccing a lot of your ships for fire prevention, or not fire prevention, but just minimal fire damage. Like you can slot fire prevention if you have this points for it. You should probably using the fire flags in order to lower your fire durations.
Yep.
Because what you'll often hear me say in a clan battle is I'll be like, get a fire on that guy, like get some damage on this person. And if you can get that consistent over time damage, that's wears people down. And
I want to interrupt real quick. Chevron, or is it Chevron? There's actually something you could do depending on your health level here. The one thing that we've kind of learned recently is, say you're this Hindenburg and you know you're going to be screwed here no matter what because you're kind of bow on. If you have the health, turn out. You will likely lose most, if not all, of your health. You can try to turn out if you are pretty full health and sacrifice it, because no matter what, if you stay bow on, you are dead. That's one of the things that is a little bit more risky, but turning out can potentially save you. Then again, if you're already so low on health, just try to live as long as you can.
Also, too, guys, I'm going to post here in the clan chat is a rough estimate of fire damages and stuff based on when you have a full fire build on a boat and when you have no fire built. You're going to see that a cruiser sustains only from one fire that burns the duration. With fire build, it's only 2,250 fire damage is what you take.
which is nothing.
Yeah, it's the battleships that you want to focus on keeping on fire. That's the big one, because if it's fire built, it's taking 8,000 per fire, and if you can keep 3 fires on it, then you're doing 21,000 per fire. That's every 60 seconds.
The only cruisers that you see die from fires in clan battles really are cruisers that have gotten themselves in a position where they can't really escape. Like they like Mosfas who've bowed in because that's what they do, or Hindenburgs that accidentally facing the wrong direction when they shouldn't have been. Like those are the people who die from fires, and the people who are low health who don't have 2,200 health to burn.
Also, people that
it's not going to be the primary thing that kills you.
People that mismanage their damage controls, because that's another thing is you want to be calling out when somebody used damage control. You do not want to be calling out, hey, I set a fire. Great, no one really cares. It's not helping communication. Now, if somebody has no DCP and you set 2-3 fires, that might be okay. But you want to really, the most important thing is communicating that they do not have DCP ready. That means Zhao and Hindenburg, whatever you are, everybody should be firing HE at that except for battleships. It's
also
fires.
It's also worth mentioning when you use your DCP as well, because that's usually a reason to go dark if you just have to burn it. And then also, I would counter that with when you're shooting at a battleship and you're desperately trying to get follow-up fires after a DCP, it's worth communicating where you get fires. So you say, I got a fire on the superstructure. That means your friends need to aim at the bow and the stern to get the second and third fire.
Good point.
So when calling that out, is there like an SOP for like that? Do we use the hotkey to say like this guy specifically? Or
you'll
calling out
yeah, you
focus
can
fire?
press F3 for like a focus target.
You can also just say, hey, I have 2 fires on the Zhao, or maybe even say the player's name. Generally, if you're with an off flank, you should know that person's voice. You should at least try, if you haven't played with them much, try to quickly memorize that person's voice so you can go. And if not, please add the Discord overlay for voice communication so you can see who's talking.
I think you meant, like, do you call out the target that you're shooting at, right?
Yeah, everybody should be calling targets. So no matter what you're doing, whether you're in a group of 2 people or 5 people in clan battles, everybody should be focusing a target, because 2 people firing on one target is pretty deadly. 5 people firing on one target is hysterical how fast that ship dies. Even a battleship. So that's one thing we, our Bravo team, and even sometimes the Alpha team doesn't call out, is a focus fire. If everybody's just kind of shooting their own target like they would in randoms, you're not going to be as effective as you can, and you're losing out a lot of damage potential for your team. Because remember, in clan battles, you're not there to do damage or look awesome if you win the game with 0 damage. But you did your job, you held your cap and everything, then you did everything perfectly.
We've had players before who have complained that they finished a win in clan battles with no damage, and I didn't understand why they were upset with us.
Yep, because sometimes the right play is literally denying the enemy a position. Or DDs. DDs typically pretty damn common for DD to have 0 damage done, and that's perfectly okay as long as they're spotting and or capping. They're doing their job.
I love a win with no damage in my DD.
I mean, in randoms, it would annoy me too, but like in clan battles, we're there to win. That's the primary reason why we're all playing.
Stats don't matter in clan battles, right?
Win rate does.
Yeah, that's it, except for win rate.
So, do you guys want to keep going over maps? I can show some examples of gameplay. What do you think is going to work best for some, I don't know, to actually get this point across in a good way you'll learn?
I think going over the maps is helpful.
Okay. So like
I agree.
Okay.
There are like a common set of, this is like the off flank map sort of thing.
Yes. Good, Lobster.
Before we move on, one other thing we can do, ideally a little bit sooner rather than later, is we could also do practical examples in training battles. What I was thinking of doing would be basically 3 people pushing, 2 people kiting on a map, probably hotspot, because we're very familiar with that map. And then we just train it that way as well.
It won't be in this season.
Yeah,
I know, but everyone knows the map. That's why we like it.
But it won't be in the season.
Yeah, but hotspot's not going to be in the rotation.
Everybody said
I
that.
know.
Okay.
So impractical application.
So I guess we can kind of quickly go over. It doesn't really honestly change a whole lot for each map. For the general like play style, obviously you can get into specifics of any team and what your team's plan is. But generally, I'll even take away the ship names because I don't want people to get caught on to, this ship does this only and whatnot. You do want to pick the ship. Why did I just do that to myself? You want to pick a ship that serves its role properly. So you could say take a Zhao, a Wooster, or a Minotaur because they have good concealment. And generally what you want to do then is put that in a spot where it's going to be able to spot. Zhao, you actually can do something. We called it the Kozero bait tactic. We've talked about it plenty, so I'm not going to go into it a lot. But since Zhao has such good accuracy and a pretty good range, we would actually have a ship that gets detected easily, say the Hindenburg, closer. So in this this specific case I'm talking about, the Hindenburg would be right here. It would be this ship right here. And the Zhao would be the other ship. The Hindenburg would try to kite away. The other 2 ships would move up chasing the Hindenburg, and the Zhao would surprise them with an AP strike. It would reposition to get into a spot where it's going to get those broadsides. So that's one thing you can do. Now that doesn't work every time. We actually stopped doing it because it didn't work. But the idea that I really want to get across is learn the strengths of the ship and use that to your advantage no matter what your plan is. So that's kind of the general idea is you usually want one ship to spot because otherwise if nobody's going to be able to spot, those ships are going to be able to sneak up and it's going to be too late for you to start running away. As a general rule set, the off flank people are going to be in a position where they're going to run away. So, like in this map in particular, you're going to be set up in a stern tanking, we call it, where your rear of the ship is facing where the enemy is likely going to be coming from. That way, if you see the enemy and maybe you think you're only going to see 1 or 2 ships, hey, you're just you're gonna kite and fight them. You should be able to do pretty well, being able to disengage and everything when you want. But maybe they surprise you. Instead of 2 ships, there's a 3rd one, and then their battleship shows up. You go, holy crap, we're not going to win this fight, no matter how well we play. It's just not in it for us. So then, what you could do is you both kite away. And one thing we always learned, we learned recently from playing King of the Sea is you want one ship to actually, I drew this poorly, to kite to the north. So that way, like this, that way when these ships come around the corner, they're going to go around here, they're going to want to go for your cap. And as long as this ship is alive, by now it should be up here, likely be facing a direction like this. Now all these other ships, they're going to be going towards the cap, and what do you know, as they get into the cap, they're now broadside to the ship up north.
If I can point something out.
Yeah, you can draw on it.
Okay, just a quick spiel here. Something here that Grusky missed that actually most of us all miss on the off flank. If I was on the main flank here and we're kind of pushing through and nothing gets said to me, then I usually mid-game lose my ship because there's poor communication. Because when you guys get pushed out of the off flank, I can't see what's going on. I'm relying on your communication. I need to know, hey guys, we got 5 boats over here. The same as when I communicate to you guys, hey, we've got 5 boats over here. You guys should know you guys might have the remainder. It's huge to have that communication between the 2 flanks. Assume that neither flank knows what's going on in your situation, so you have to inform them. Because as the main shot caller with the main force, if you got 5 pushing that way and you don't say nothing, they'll just chase you down and kill you, and we're still kind of treading water like we're going up against because we don't know. So it's very important to communicate that.
So basically, we need to figure out as quickly as possible where the main focus of their attack is, rather than just the supplementary attack. Well, yeah, if they're going to push it with numbers to one side or the other,
I think he's just saying you need to communicate that, hey, the main bulk of their force is over here where our small flank is, because then what that tells the other side is they have the numbers advantage. They need to be doing the same thing and pushing where they're weakest.
Right, that was kind of what I meant.
And even you don't even have to make a point. I'm glad. Thanks for pointing that out, Bean. That's a huge thing I overlooked. You don't even have to say, "Hey, shot caller, we're 4 versus 2 over here," or whatever. You could just say, "Hey, there's 4 of them over here. We're kiting away." And your off-flank partner should hear that, and the shot caller should hear that. The shot caller doesn't acknowledge it, and they're still lolly-dollying. Say, "Hey, shot caller," or "Hey, other people on the other flank." We need to take action over there because we're dying over here, and that little thing, not doing that loses games.
Chris, can I draw the map quickly, or just...
Yep, go for it.
One thing that we also talked about in the previous stream where we had ZR guys in 07 with us is the concept of controlling half the map. So in this example, the initial plan would be to control the top left half of the map with these 2 caps. When you start kiting away to run away from those 4 ships, then your control has to shift to controlling this half of the map. So you have 2 caps and you can still win.
Yeah, that's something Teehee brought up that's pretty valuable. In this case, where your off flank is getting pushed, there's the superior force. Your main flank cap should be pushing south, and in the end, it should look something like this, where your off flank is about here. Let me fix this a little bit better. It should look something kind of like this, where your off flank is now pushed down to here, and your main flank is pushed down south, and your off flank is now more towards the north.
So go ahead, I'm sorry.
Your off flank is basically rotating if they're making a strong push.
Yeah, your off flank has to be ready to react to the enemy. And when I say that, that means if they're overwhelmed, kite away. If they have the advantage, they need to push.
Yeah, it's a very delicate position. It's something that takes experience to get used to. That's why we want to cover it in its own lesson, because we have some guys that will go out there and they'll expect to just sit there and not do anything, but they really have like a freeway going down that side of the map and they just never realize it. There's also some guys that just don't know what to do when they do get overwhelmed. So I mean, it can always go both ways, and just getting used to recognizing that when you have the ability to, make a play happen, and it doesn't have to happen fast. A lot of this stuff, if you just take deep breaths and kind of think about your actions as you're making a play, both defensively or offensively, you're going to notice that you're able to make much more happen than when you're just in a panic and say, "Oh shit, we're down a boat. We got to make something happen." You run in, you both die. We don't serve ourselves any better like that. The same as, defensively, you see 5 boats and you just hit the W key and you're gone. Then that also doesn't quite help us. It's a very fine balance between, going too little and too much.
The other thing you have to call, you should be listening for the main flank to call out is, hey, say they're contesting this cap over here is A. Say they're fighting over that and they see 5 ships. They should be saying that, so that way these people over here know that, hey, there's only likely 2 ships over here. Or if they say, hey, there's 6 or 7 ships here, this cap's empty. We're just gonna hold and defend here. You guys need to push as quick as you can. You don't even need somebody to communicate that. You can just keep an eye out that on your own, but it should be communicated. If you don't communicate that, that's a huge miss.
If we're pulling out to the north, say, just given the situation that we have here from the off flank, are we doing that while firing, or are we trying to go dark? That way we can read.
Depends on the situation.
So, in my opinion, a very important role of the off flank is trying to delay the enemy in general on moving, as well as delay them on capping points. So if the enemy are capping points and you've got a ship spotted, it's usually worth it to shoot, to interrupt them. The only exception would be if you're so low health that you think you could get killed doing that. Obviously don't. Your points are more valuable than delaying a cap for 20 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your main role is delay caps, and then don't die.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting ignored and you've got the chance to, send a couple salvos, send those salvos, reassess. So, you start seeing guns being pointed at you, just stop shooting. Don't try to prolong it. Don't try to get that last salvo off. Just start the process of going dark right away, because as soon as you go dark, they stop shooting at you. It's going to take them, 20 seconds to rotate turrets, 30 seconds for them to rotate turrets 90 degrees and get them on the next target. That's 20 or 30 seconds. That's 2-3 salvos now that you've taken away from them.
The other thing,
quantity is something to keep in mind too. If you have the health and you can trade with another ship and delay him for a while, go for it. If you are fighting against 2 or 3 enemy ships, don't prolong that fight. Delay as long as you can, then get out of there. But if you're fighting one ship and you can make a fair trade of health with him over time, it might be worth it just to sit there and exchange for a bit.
Also, on the concept of interrupting caps, most of you should know this from randoms. This is the one situation where focus fire isn't always necessary. It's better if they've got 3 ships capping, make sure you're spreading your shots out so you're interrupting all the ships, and communicate with your buddy to say, I got a hit on this guy. Don't shoot that one, shoot the next one.
Another easy little trick is if there's one ship capping and that ship is spotted, and say maybe you guys are both low health, you don't want to trick it, you can communicate going dark and shooting that person so they can't focus on you, but that's really only if you have low health. If you guys are both full health and there's 1 or 2 ships in the cap, you guys should be firing at him as much as you can. But it's so important to delay that cap by shooting them. You take away their capture points, and as Officer said, be communicating who's had their their cap points taken away. It's often referred to as decapped. I've decapped this person, or they're still gaining points. I've decapped everybody means there's a 3rd ship in there that's not spotted, and you need to communicate that. Because that means you guys are maybe staying lit, spotted, and fighting when you should be going dark and running.
That is one of the few weaknesses of the Zhao Hindenburg off flank, is it's difficult to respond if they put a DD in that off cap. You need to be aware of that.
You have no radar. That's definitely a detriment.
Yeah, it's also good too is that, if the DD hasn't been spotted and you pick one up, but you can't see one in the cap, you're very confident that the DD's chasing you guys down or something like that. Again, that's other important information, so that the main flank knows that they're not gonna run into torpedoes from a DD sitting out on the flank or something like that when they're pushing.
So do you have something else to say?
I guess one other thing is if you run into a team with 2 DDs, this is pretty common sense to most of us, but a team with 2Ds will probably send a DD on the off flank, so expect that.
Oh yeah, if you have 2 radars, you should try to separate your radars as much as you can, especially if there's 2 DDs. If you see 2 DDs and you have 2 radars, you want 1 radar at the end of each end of the map.
Some radars are better for this than that. Worcester's a good option for open water radar on the off flank.
So the other off flank maneuver you could say is your team spawns with what you call a home cap, meaning your team spawns here. They're going to be getting this cap for free unless they're really dumb and pass it up. So it should be a given, right? So one of the main strategies is, okay, guys, let's go get our home cap. Let's go take the middle cap, which is the highest contested cap. And then, we'll fight over it. The problem is a lot of teams all think of that. They all position up. They know where to go. And it becomes just kind of like a fight of who can out-chunk each other, by who could just do slowly more damage over time. And that's not always a fight you want to take. So some teams like to send their main force to go cap the enemy team's home cap. And they'll send their main force through, these islands here, around, something like that. In which case the off-flank gets swapped, where you don't want to just ignore this other middle contested cap, because if you do, the enemy team's going to instantly notice that they got this cap, reposition, and as like Lobster was saying, you want to decap if you at all can. So the idea is you still send a ship or 2 over here. Their goals is not to cap this at all, unless obviously the opportunity arises. They're there to shoot them, make them think that this cap is going to be contested, make the enemy think, okay, we're seeing them, and then hopefully they don't realize right away that there's only 2 ships. And obviously they want to be very concerned about their health, because they're likely going into a battle where it's going to be 2 versus 5 or 2 versus 4, where the numbers aren't going to be in their favor. So they have to be very coordinated and careful. And hopefully by the time the enemy team realizes your team is about here already, and it's too late for them to reposition. But obviously that works better than others sometimes. The main idea, like Lobster said, is they want to cap, but obviously you can also see, hey, maybe your 5 players running over to their home cap runs into their 5 players, and both teams are doing the same thing. Then these 2 players do not want to be running away or kiting away. They need to be fighting those other 2 ships to gain this cap, because now it's just become a battle of who can out DPM each other.
And I think this map, more than a lot of others, it often comes down to kills over caps to decide who wins. Because that A cap is so easy to defend and so difficult to actually take that it's hard to get a 2 cap advantage without committing a lot of your forces.
I mean, they did change that A cap, the islands in it, to
still,
camping from.
I don't know how close it is, but those DDs will probably proximity spot each other. They're going to be within 2.5 kilometers. So that means both DDs are going to be spotted. Ships can park up over here, and possibly, I haven't seen on this map, but I mean, you're going to see a lot of tactics where people try to get in positions to do stuff like this.
Proxy spotting is 2 kilometers.
Oh, at 2, yeah, and 2.5. So yeah, that's stuff we're gonna have to watch out. I don't know the size of that island. I haven't played the new map yet. In fact, I'm still updating my game. But
worth mentioning that general. I mean, this is a bit off topic, I guess, but in the past, on this map and also on hotspot, putting a Moskva here is actually quite effective because it's got great accuracy at range, and it's kind of can create a crossfire with a battleship.
Especially Moscow with legendary module.
Or Stalingrad.
Or Stalingrad. Is balance. So yeah, that's at least what I want to get with the off topic. Before we got too far off topic is the off link can shift. In this case, these guys want to stall, and then they want to run this way north to go back to their home cap, and hopefully then that middle zone that your team controls shifts to something like this, or even like this then. In which case you own both of the caps, and as long as you didn't lose too much, too much life doing it, or ships, then your team's in a pretty good spot.
Do we have that recording of that game versus iChase's clan, Ping? That was a decent example of this, wasn't it?
I might. I can go. I actually just pulled a few recordings I was going to go and bring up.
You made a pretty good video on one of our clan battles from last season. on this map.
I believe. Well, yeah. I think there's one that you covered the Zao, and it did a lot about the. I think it was Showed Lobster on Hotspot doing a really good job on the off flank. If I can just comment.
Yep.
With all of the stuff that we're going on about, it takes a lot of practice. This is high skill to pull this off. It is not easy. It doesn't come all at once. It is something that when you guys play in randoms and when you play in clan battles, knowing what force you're up against and reacting to that accordingly and practicing the kiting, working with a division, even working with people that aren't in your division in the game in order to best sway the game. It's something that has to be practiced. If you don't practice the fundamentals, you're going to struggle with this all season long.
And try to division with people that are on your sort of clan battles team that you play with regularly. It's helpful.
Yeah, it does. Just making like typical communication habits is a great way to go, and you can generally get a great synergy going, which is super awesome if you guys can kind of just work together even without communicating as much. You just know what each other's going to do is a huge thing that you can't just force to happen. So I got a couple. I think this is oh yeah, here's a good one. This is a Tears one. Tears of the Desert. Actually, this is an off link. Okay, I thought it was off link. So here's a off link Zao on Sea of Fortune. You can see me and Kozuro. Wow, this is old. This is when Kozuro was your waifu score. Jeez. The ancient times. Huh? Yeah, it's that old. We're going over here, and I think we're actually going to be trying the Kozuro bait strategy on this one, where Kozuro gets spotted in the Hindenburg, and I reposition in the Zao to take advantage of it. I haven't screened this one yet. I didn't look at this game to see if this is a horrible example or not.
There's still something to learn from my bad example.
Exactly. So right here, this is actually a bad example. Kozuro's kind of going bow into Hindenburg, but looks like he's turning around to move to kind of reposition behind one of these islands, so he gets spotted and then instantly has a way to go and go dark and have the best armor in the game, aka islands.
He's turning around like an intelligent person.
Yeah. Well, this is where Kozuro usually loses half of his health. But look at the. See if I can forward it a little bit. So yeah, we're picking on this DD here because we have nothing to show. Right now I'm moving to be off to the side of the map. Kozuro's going to be over in the sort of almost middle of the map. This way we can set up crossfire. I'm communicating where my RPF is. I'm keeping an eye on it. We ping the map. We're trying to get cross shots in like Rosovoy. We see that most of their team is over by A and B cap. And that means we're likely only to see 1 or 2 ships over here at C cap. So that means it's going to be a favorable engagement for us most likely, but we still have to be careful, because if we don't play things right, we're going to lose a lot of health and die.
So another thing that might be worth communicating is that you are being RPF'd here, so that's something that people should also communicate with their teammates.
It tells you it's likely a DD or another flanking ship. And right now they have 2 DDs on this game, so that means we're likely going to be outspotted.
And also by communicating that, you can sometimes use that to triangulate roughly where the ship is more accurately.
Yeah, that is something we used to do. We used to have 2 off-link players sort of separated, and they were both using RPF, and they would communicate where their RPFs are consistently, so we can pretty accurately gauge where that ship was.
It's an important technique if you use Yu-Yang radar.
Rip.
Press F for Yu-Yang.
You're pushing up so far. Oh god.
Yeah, I know. I think by this point we realize it's only like 1 ship over here. But this is where I'm going to eat a lot of torpedoes because I'm talking about this on a stream, right?
Oh yeah, it is 1 ship. Oh wow. Huh.
So that's one of the things, if you look at it, yeah, this game is so long ago, I have no memory of it, but we've communicated that there's only 1 ship here. What I don't want to do is charge that ship. I'm not going to, like I said, you don't want to pick a fight unless you're going to win it. I want Kozuro to come around and move and cap this, basically. Or help me cap this, because 2 versus 1's a lot more favorable than 1 versus 1. Whatever it is outspotting me, which means it's a DD.
But we can tell which DD it is before we spot the other one.
Oh, that's right. Kozaro's getting hammered by the Des Moines, I think.
Yeah, because he has no one else to shoot at.
But as you can see, generally we're far away from each other. I'll fast forward a little bit. Hopefully, I'll pass up me eating torpedoes. So now we're moving into charge because we're in better position to do it. Kozaro is not getting eaten alive. We still have no idea. Oh, we do know which DD's over here by the process of elimination. I think it was gearing. I forget what their team had. Move up a little bit. Yep, there's the gearing. So we've pushed up. The DD can't do anything to really stop us. I mean, he could just run away and smoke at that about it, but we can just move into the C cap, and unless he gets a good torpedo salvo, he's pretty powerless to stop us.
One thing that I might point out here is that Kozaro actually hasn't pushed up particularly effectively with you. I would be at this point. I think we would usually move together a bit closer.
Yeah, he should be roughly at the same distance I am. But that's also one of the things you have to work out, and this is where we failed a little bit, is Zhao is a lot faster than Hindenburg, so you kind of have to move so that way the Hindenburg almost moves up a little bit slower. Or sorry, a little first, while the Zhao waits a little bit.
Yeah, the difference is like 15%. This is more like Kozaro didn't press W enough.
Yeah, that's probably it. I don't remember why.
Well, he also started further back.
Yeah. That's true, yeah.
Why is Peter freaking out?
He's doing dog things.
Also, something that is worth practicing, and I think everyone here, including the guys on Alpha, can definitely practice as well, is shooting at DDs. It's always a good skill to practice. Do it in training battles. Do it in co-op. Sorry, not
I
co-op.
mean, I think
ops.
William the Tank was like, Battleship should be able to hit a DD at like what, to 10, 12?
I think it was 12 to 14 kilometers. 12 for sure.
And that's, I mean, a highly maneuvering, agile DD, maybe not. But like a guy traveling in a straight line, you should probably be able to hit him.
The mentality there too, guys, is nobody is too good to shoot at a DD. If you've got a shot at him, the shot is called to shoot at him. Don't matter if you're battleship. There's some exceptions. So, obviously a DD that's going to get spotted and shot by the enemy team wouldn't fire. But you can't say like, oh, well, my shots are better served at this. No, if that's the focus target, sometimes you gotta,
call it if you don't have a shot on it, basically, and don't shoot at it then. But you should be shooting it. Even with the battleship AP nerfs, you still want to shoot at DDs if you can.
And with AP most of the time, honestly, because it avoids damage saturation.
Yeah. You rarely, really, you almost never want to switch to HE in a battleship unless it's a straight on bow on fight and you're not doing anything, or
and you're not a Yamato.
Yeah. So,
or if you know that your next target is specifically going to be a DD.
If you guys want to give me a minute, we can start up a training room and kind of go over this. Do you guys think that would help doing Lobster's idea, where we take like 2 or 3 of us, 2 of us, and then versus like 3 or 4 people, and kind of propose an off-link play?
I think so. That way it's not sitting here in a classroom the whole time. Get kind of a little bit of a hands-on.
Okay.
I mean, I brought orange slices for.
Let me get the game going. If you guys want to all start as training room, I'll be right there.
Yeah. And I think we've covered a couple things that I'll mention here before, but like, in shell type selection, you're mostly HE. Don't get baited into switching shell types to AP on or if a boat is just going to stick bow onto you, they're going to try and bait you into that switch, because that's a wasted salvo if you put, AP in a boat that just everything bounces because you thought, oh, this guy's going to for sure go broadside. When you get into the higher levels, players know.
This is particularly relevant for Zhao in that gameplay we were watching. Rusky switched to AP before shooting at, I think, the Yamato, and it wasn't particularly effective.
All of us are guilty of that mistake.
There's a huge opportunity cost to switching ammunition type in Zhao, and you have to make sure it's the right target. I fire AP at battleships in the Zao like once in a dozen games at most.
Its HE is so reliable.
Another thing I want to.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. You finish up.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if I'm gonna shoot at a battleship with AP and from a Zao, I usually aim for the superstructure because it's the only place that's I know is guaranteed to be soft.
Upper belt. That's
Yeah. Another thing too is for the Zao players, don't neglect your torpedoes. If you're making that turn and if you're making that turn to kite and your shells are reloading, even if you can just hit 3 to switch to your torpedoes, dump the torpedoes, you might not get back to that side for another 3 minutes. Might as well throw the luck chuck.
Especially when you're using it in combination with radio location. If you're going on an off flank and you see that radio location is pointing in a certain direction, if you're communicating with your teammates, you can zone off huge chunks of the map pretty well with the amount of torps that a Zao can put out. You're forcing them to play at a disadvantage positioning-wise by needing to avoid your torpedoes.
Given their range, if your DD hasn't been spotted yet, it gives the impression that you might have another ship there with. If you haven't been spotted as well.
It's also another chance, say if you've got a pushing boat, say 9 times out of 10 they drive straight through him, but it's that 1 out of 10 times where he makes a mistake and eats a torpedo. That's one more torpedo you're landing that otherwise would have gotten forgotten about.
MS or Kaiser, do you guys want to make a training room? Because mine usually crash.
I'm in a game right now, but when I'm done...
I'm there, I can make it. I got the game updated. Let me just go make sure I get the proper stuff on my ship. Basically put on det flags.
For everyone that's going to be here for the first night for Wednesday the 28th, for the first couple of battles, once we're, while we're getting everybody their free respecs, we're basically just going to have a couple fun games where, take whatever meme setups we want. We'll just go in and on the Bravo team and just mess around. So that way everybody gets their battle in, everybody gets their respec. There's nothing on the line.
Meme builds?
Yeah, like if we want to take, say, like a 7 DD team.
So a Shima with torpedo acceleration and F3s.
I mean, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna joke around, the first night's gonna be the night to do it. Have a little bit of fun with it. Yeah, get the stupid out of your system, and also just to give everybody their free clan battles respect. I believe it was you just have to play 1 game of clan battles within that time window, and you got it.
Also, worth pointing out that Alpha once did a full DD spec. I think we did on Bravo's rating, but we won it somehow.
Oh, we like decimated the other team. It was kind of unfair.
Yeah, that was my one and only time on Alpha team. Thank you guys.
Glad that it's a memorable game.
Fun is fun.
I enabled my overlay, but it doesn't seem to want to.
Mine's
It's
being mean too.
Shitty sometimes.
Oh, they still haven't fixed the filter to get rid of all these Halloween boats.
I have a training room up under my name, and I don't think it's titled. I'll title it right now.
If anybody's interested, I am trying to grind for my Zao Legendary. I need 32,000 base XP still, so anybody who wants to jump in with me at any point in time and help,
We're not going to have room for everybody, so we'll try to
do 2 flags. You could do both, right?
We could
if you want me, I'll come. If not, I can go help Ariak grind.
Oh, I'm in a co-op match right now.
You're grinding base XP in co-op?
No, I need wins on my Moskva to get to stage 5. So it seemed like something.
Let's stay on topic here, guys.
Sorry.
So do we want to just have it set up kind of like this? Or you know what? Let's set it up how we would see it in clan battles. 1 second. Do we want to actually separate groups of people? So make it kind of like... Oh, MS is going to join us. We'll have 2 flanks then, is what we'll do. You guys, what we'll do is we'll go into our own room, and we can communicate things. That way you guys don't see it. I'll leave it up on stream, you know, leave you guys in the honor system to not cheat with that. But it's good. The reason why I don't want to mute it and everything is I want people to see that are just watching or want to watch the video later is what the communication is like.
If we need to communicate with you guys, I think we'll just communicate through the in-game chat.
So I'm gonna go pop over to another channel. Everybody that's on my team over here, come to Alpha. You're not joining us, Mike?
I need to put captains on ships.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna go pop over to our other voice chat, and if you guys want to start getting your ships ready. Like I said, I'll still be on stream, so you guys can. I'll trust you to listen in. No DDs though. Everybody just bring a cruiser. Preferably a good you know
Yes, you want us off
cruiser?
tanking or pushing?
You guys are gonna be pushing, so you guys are gonna be going full push.
Probably even split, right, on the caps. So we're outnumbered on each cap.
Yeah. So we're gonna split evenly. The idea is we're gonna go to 2 different caps. You guys are gonna act like it is a normal clan battle, for the all intents and purposes. So nobody just rush to the middle, or anything like that. Act like it's gonna be a clan battles game.
However you want to do it. If you want to do 2 to 1 cap, 5 to the other, you want to do all 7 to you on 1 cap, that's fine. But preferably send something to both caps.
Yeah, act like you would be playing a real game.
Yeah, I needed captains for Zhao and Hindi because that's probably... I don't even know what I'm playing in clan battles this year. So.
Oh yeah, Gross, you just know I do not have RPF on my SAS, so
that's fine. We'll separate you then.
We'll make sure that my Zhao has RPF. Make sure my Zhao has a captain.
I can also play a Hindenburg if you guys want as well. I've got a FP.
I'm just making sure I don't have...
I'm muting the sound just for a little bit so we can talk about what we're gonna do here. Just for purposes, I don't want everybody to hear it. So the audio is intentionally muted and it will come back in a minute. Rip.
Okay. I can probably operate with Mike because he'll have radar, so we can kind of offset.
Okay.
Good luck.
I figure depending on the side that we're on, well, we also on the same side. I want to be posted up on the volcano side.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Something that the thing that okay, perfect. The thing that me and Kozer did last time was I parked somewhere around like G2, maybe even a bit more on like the borderline, like the line between 2 and 3 line. And basically, I was there to shoot anything trying to come around that corner and to be the radar. Kozero sat out more on like the 1 line and was like the crossfire for me. It's more aggressive than like a Hindenburg because the Hindenburg would angle away, but the Moscow has to angle in. But it was, if they had pushed us, it would be really hard for them to kill me. So whoever's my Zao,
I'm with you.
Okay.
Gretzky, I said that they can push 1, 2, and 9, 10.
Sure. Dog said he was going to take care of it, so I don't know what he had planned. Ooh, nice new icons for HE and AP.
I do like that.
Me and Beanland are going all the way towards C.
Yeah. Should he spot it?
Or, yeah, C. After this, I told him we'd play some games, just practicing, and we're going to have an off-link, and we'll actually play those on actual CB maps.
Yeah. I mean, oh God, why were they so mad about that?
Well, you're on stream now.
It's a practice, yeah.
I know. Everybody was angry.
Yeah.
I thought they were just doing that to get under you.
They probably both are. I know our clan members, they like to get under your skin. I mean, then again, we're all shit. We're clan shit posters, right?
I am RPF'd here, so I know that I'm gonna get spotted and gonna take fire. So my goal, I'm just sort of telegraphing what I'm doing, by the way, is to get this big ass island in the way and be basically the tip of this offensive over here, and basically just be really hard to kill. And Lobster's goal is to be my bait.
Yeah, I'm gonna move over here, probably reverse. Why can I pick there? I'm gonna reverse back to the enemy until I'm spotted, and then kite down sort of.
Actually, in this situation,
direction.
I'm your bait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am detected. Hard detected.
You're 2 away from me, so I'm gonna be spotted soon.
Something could be out here.
I'm turning away in a second.
Angling up.
So, Beanland, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stern tank it about here. I want you to kind of be about here.
Lobster, I'm going to radar.
Stern tanking.
Okay.
Yep, got him.
Alright, who are we focusing? Zao?
Yep, Hypnotic. I'm going to work on getting my ass into cover here.
Okay.
I'm getting cover from the 3 of them that are sitting on the end. So in this case, like Lobster's the most exposed. So Lobster gets to retreat a little bit here and play it safe. I keep up the fire on Hypnotic. He's the most exposed. Autopilot mode enabled. But I get myself in cover from the other 3, so that I'm only fighting 1 ship and not.
Also, I've still got 8 seconds until torpedoes I can launch.
Okay. So I've angled myself in a way that I still have all guns on target.
I'm being targeted by 3 right now.
If you can dump those torps on these guys, because then I have a feeling that
I might have to drop stealth for a second.
Me. That's fine. We got Hypnotic down to almost below half.
Yep. Alright, MS, if I drop torps like basically right in front of you, that cool?
Yep, you drop them right down there. I want them to not want to push me.
Yep. Alright, I've dropped stealth.
One weakness of this rock and hard play style gameplay is I am vulnerable to a torpedo rush. So like Mr. Red is coming pretty aggressively towards me right now, and that could be a torpedo rush. Hindenburg 6 kilometer torps.
All right, I'm just angling up against MS. Do you want to focus Sandlord next?
Depends on who comes on that corner. If it's whoever has the torpedoes, if it's
but
Mr.
for
Red.
Now, do you want me to start opening fire again?
Yeah, you fire.
Actually, let's focus Mr. Red, I guess.
Red's charging me. So Lobster's going to get the fire on him. And I'm going to fire AP at him to make sure that he stays angled.
Oh, that was Zao HE.
So, Beanland, we're going to be seeing...
I'm keeping him angled So you hit him as hard as you can.
Des Moines, Azal.
He's not angled. He's not broadside
Mercer.
enough for AP yet.
How are those torps though?
One might hit.
Okay.
Des Moines, Worcester,
One
Hindenburg.
will hit. All right, we're good. Let's kill
Can
him.
you HE him? I'll hit Sandlord. Sandlord's broadside to me.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, he's going. Yeah.
I think it's better to just fire with the HE here. I got a second torpedo hit on Sandlord.
Please hit Red. He's angled towards you now.
I
wish I could see what's going on over there.
I mean, you can pull up the stream.
He's angling towards me now.
Yeah, he's launching torpedoes now.
Do you have Hydra?
I don't. Not up right now.
Nice kill. All right, Sandlord next.
Is that Sandlord and then Des Moines by you?
Yep.
Okay.
Splendiferous is also pushing up, but he's not a threat right now.
I took 2.
Okay.
Minotaur spotted.
Beanland, it looks like they're matching our speed pretty much.
Copy
Let's
that.
stick to Sandlord for now.
I'm gonna start turning and get tanking.
If Splendiferous is gonna sit broadside to me, I'm gonna kill him.
Okay.
I kind of, Beanland, I want you to see if you can really like stern tank with your back facing towards the top of that top right corner of that square.
Yep.
And I want to try to use this small area.
Take some aggression off me if you can.
To funnel them in.
I'll try. Don't think they're gonna take the bait though.
I know it's a little impossible, but
okay.
I'll try to show broadside.
Yeah, I'm gonna die.
Okay.
Actually, Beanland, back up a little bit.
Right.
Wanted you kind of like... Oh, I see what you're doing.
Now
Yeah.
Lobster's job is just to kite these guys as effectively as possible.
See, they keep shooting at me.
If you don't mind me talking over you guys for a second. So, just an example of this right here. Between me and Lobster, we killed 1 ship, half health, 2 others, and about what? He's at the other guy's 3/4?
Yeah,
and
we
Lobster
really
and I are
wrecked
good players,
so.
but that was a costly push. Now that's more ships than most people would commit to a single flank in a normal clan battle. So take that situation and just, in a normal clan battle situation, that push would have been far more costly.
Also, I'm going to reach it again, Grusky.
Beanland, it's jumping between those 2 squares.
Copy that.
Now Lobster's sitting on full health with 2 half health opponents and 1 3/4. And he's better at range than the Des Moines and the Minotaur. So Lobster gets to pick when he wants to engage these guys.
Also worth mentioning that torpedo strike was like textbook.
Yeah, that torpedo denial was perfect.
Can you guys just let them know not to come across the flank and hit us on this side so that they don't interfere with these guys got going on the east?
MS, you want to type that?
Yeah. Actually, I'll just go in there and say it to him.
Okay.
I got eyes on dog.
I'm moving up so that if Sandlord wants to push to B, he'll have to spot me in the
I'm
process.
spotted. There's Chevron. Let's focus on him.
Okay.
It's a situation where RPF would be damn.
Boosters right here.
Okay, I told them.
Yeah, MS, this is a situation where I guess RPF would be convenient because I could... Oh, spotted! The Minotaur. Interesting.
Hey,
So that was...
Hey, Beeman, some advice for you.
Yep.
If you can reverse just a little bit and get your ass pointing towards that island, you can get all your guns on target. So I think you would what? You'd
turn right?
Yeah, you'd turn right but reverse and you'll get your guns on target while still being angled.
Copy
and
that.
you have shots, so you guys should be focusing Sergeant Chevron.
Yes, sir.
And Grusky's kiting out. Everyone's firing at Grusky. Beeman's relatively safe in. And Chevron has to go broadside to both of you. Now, we don't have a battleship, but if we had a battleship on this flank, that would be a move that could be fatal. Chevron's forced to retreat.
Yeah, no shot on Chevron. I'm going to move to
I'm
dog.
going dark.
Grusky should...
That was a good example of getting baited.
Sorry. But... But basically, you're out kiting them right now, right?
Yeah.
So, just to do some color commentary here, again, on C's side, Grusky took a decent beating. I mean, 4 ships firing at him, that's going to take a beating. But he's healing up. Beanland's now taking over most of the aggression. Now, Beanland's going to start getting out of there, and then this is the point where as soon as he's ready to heal up and fire back, Grusky can re-engage.
Yeah, I can go dark here. No,
Okay.
I can't. He's got me again.
I'm gonna focus on Larkness. He's the one spotting you.
Okay. Nemesis.
Actually, yeah, Nemesis is, but Larkness is sitting still.
Okay. I can get him over the island.
Actually, he might... If Beelan can switch to Nemesis...
I'll switch to Nemesis then.
Yeah, be going full speed, Beelan. Get out of there.
And right now, I'm not going full speed because I actually want to sort of stay in range where I can spot them. And once I'm ready, I can just hit the W key and get out of here.
Hey, Grusky, MSC, you like that use of AP there?
That was good.
Also,
yeah,
I need to...
Bean's gonna go down.
I gotta burn that DCP.
Yep. Nemesis is by far the most exposed now, if you guys got shots. Lobster, don't engage the guys at 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn around in a second and just go fight dogs. Get rid of the islands.
So now you get to enact your teaching of kiting.
Oh yeah, MS I did 165,000.
The ship is on fire. Problem solved, sir.
I think we could have actually improved a couple things. I think I could have not committed as much and gotten that close. That being said, we did bait them all into coming into your fire, which was good.
It was effective still. Also, we'd usually use the Hindenburg anyway.
Right. They did push Bean and Grusky very hard. Oh!
Enemy severely damaged.
Damn. That was a sexy salvo, Grusky.
Thank you.
Were you dark for that?
Oh yeah. So that's why the Zhao is such a, I don't know, a good clan battleship. I went dark in a situation, chunked him for what was that, like 50k? Something? Not 50, like 40. 30, 40, whatever it was. I wasn't paying attention. Now this is where I'm in trouble. I can't go dark. Nope, I went dark. Oh, I went dark. And I might get a Torp Salvo on Nemesis.
No way.
Oh.
Boom. That's why the Zhao is like pretty much overpowered. Now I am gonna die here because I've ran into the end of the map. I'm done here.
You spotted still? Oh yeah.
Dogs got me.
Last stand, you got this.
Lobster just took a nasty shot from Hypnotic. He's got one in return. Oh.
The ship is on fire.
People losing health all over.
Pop Hydra.
Good call.
Yeah.
Very good call.
Oh, fuck off, announcer. I'm not the last hope.
That was really well done, Grusky.
Thank you. Ooh, lobster.
I made a few mistakes there. We'll talk about it when we're done, but you know.
It's all good.
I think talking about our mistakes with them is a good thing to do too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because no matter who you are, you're gonna make a mistake.
Yeah. I'm playing in such a gimped position right now.
Oh yes, I forgot. You're playing with one arm after your surgery. Oh shit! I totally forgot about that.
I got my laptop sitting at like a 45-degree angle on my lap, kind of.
That's dedication and talent.
Oh, man, we could have got someone else to replace you.
Yeah.
That's alright. I wanted to make a go at it anyway.
Should we just call this? Should we just call this one or no?
I'll go die to Hypnotic.
I'm gonna jump into there unless you have something to say.
Should we just tell them it's a free for all?
No, let me fight this.
Luster's like, no, I found a fight I can win. Oh,
Luster wants to get 3 kills.
Zao HP, man, or HE, God.
It's fine. I've got this.
Don't die.
Oh, geez, Lobster, you guys won that whole flank. Oh my God.
You're fucking welcome, guys.
That's like the power of off flank kiting right there. I'm gonna jump into the other room. Yep.
Yeah.
Listening to, I was in their room and watching your stream with the voice on. That was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna be in there, guys.
The Minotaur was still alive.
Yeah, that's the problem. I got stuck in the islands. I was still trying to turn around the whole time.
So obviously, I want to. I mean, this is pretty much done for you guys. Can kill Lobster whenever, but obviously there is an advantage.
Lobster can kill more of you.
One of the two.
Right?
How that feels.
So no matter what in Warships, this is one thing we tried to focus on with kiting the other day, with like a week or two ago. That was our focus. This really goes hand in hand. No matter what you're doing, kiting has an advantage. I think it was Lobster. You explained it as when you're running away from a ship, their shells take longer to get to you, and they're running towards you, so your shells actually take less time to get to them. And it's also harder to hit a target going away from you. So that no matter what, that's why the off flank is really important. If they can handle an overwhelming force better than the pushing can. Because if you're kiting, it's a lot easier to negate that difference. You can choose when to go dark, as you guys saw. I chose to go dark when there was 4 people barreling down on me. I used that opportunity to angle and get a really good salvo on the Des Moines and launch torpedoes too, then to finish them off and just slow you guys down in general. So no matter what, those are like the big points of kiting.
So if I can just talk the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ben.
I was just going to finish up on this flank. I was going to say, likewise, guys, you can see how difficult it is to pull off, and that's why we got to practice. I was set up a little bit too close, and I wasn't able to go dark, and that's what ended up caught. Plus, you can see, too, as I was looking down the pipe, I wasn't really paying attention, and I oversteered, and you guys had great angles on me. It wore me down a lot more than, I took a lot more damage than what I should have taken.
It's also good to point out, Beelan just had surgery and is playing with one arm, and we forgot about that, so...
we're taking advantage of the cripple.
Good. I expect.
As well, you should.
You should. So,
well, we actually radared him too, so we knew he was behind the.
You guys did that great. So you guys did a push really well using your radars to spot. For you, whether it's proxy spotting, hard spotting, or using your radar to spot. So that was beautiful. That was good.
I was going to point out a few things. You can talk about it first. I guess you died first.
No, fair enough. All right, so that was the 2 examples. That was 2 ships that kind of cut away on the 910 line, and then it was on the 1-2. It was a ship that is sort of there to fight and probably die if the enemy team commits to that flank. Sometimes people do that with a Des Moines as well because it has the rapid fire. I was able to get to that position pretty easily. Who was on the far flank? The Zao we lit up first?
Hypnotic was the first one we shot at.
So Hypnotic, he was doing the correct thing positioning-wise. He was the Zao. He got on the flank to sort of spot. Once we discovered him, though, he was isolated. And when I spotted him, he was coming towards me, not angled away or reversing, but he was coming towards me, which meant that he was going to be our primary target for as long as he was in range.
Another 2 things that I wanted to just add to on Hypnotic. It didn't seem like you were very hard to hit when you were kiting away. I think you were mostly sailing kind of straight. I was consistently hitting. And then also, it wasn't really your fault. We would have focused you anyway because you're the Zao.
Yeah. I mean, that's your positioning there is going to make you a good target. I would say the moment that we caught you was like the worst possible moment to catch you. When you spotted the Mosfa, bow on, not backing down from being spotted. If I'm coming at you, it's because I'm going to radar you and I'm going to shoot at you. So if you see like a ship in that position that is clearly not going to back down, then you need to back off. Because if you'd have been angled away when I spotted you, or when you opened fire on me for the first salvo, you probably would have taken half as much damage as you did in that initial engagement because you're already running away. The other three guys, you did a pretty good job of letting Hypnotic spot, and then you guys making the decision to push all together. I will say, you guys, the ones that even survived the initial push, you all lost good chunks of health. I think Hypnotic left with like half. I think who was it? Dog? Were you the or not?
No, I
Dog.
was
but
That was
who
Sand.
Sand died, and who was the Minotaur? Who was the Des Moines?
Splendiferous was the Minotaur. Sand was the Des Moines.
Oh, Sand was the Des Moines. Okay.
And Red was the Indy.
Des Moines took half his health. Red died, and then I think Splendiferous
Which was
had.
expected.
Yeah,
We
you
all
had-
died.
Right. I'm talking about the initial push. The part that I was in. Red, your actual push wasn't too bad, but it was a pretty big overcommittal. You're basically trying to make sure you trade your ship for mine.
Yeah.
And that works if you're the only one who trades your ship for just my ship. But because of that push, you committed 2 of your teammates with that push, and they each lost significant amounts of health. So you didn't really just trade your ship for my ship. You traded your ship, half of Hypnotics, half of Sandlords, and a quarter of Splendiferous.
You won the trade there. And I feel like a good chunk of it was because I took that one torpedo.
Yes.
Question.
We should have been running Hydro, though. We really.
You guys weren't running Hydro?
I thought that the lack of communication.
Okay.
Tannenberg should have been running Hydro.
One of you should have. Yeah. That was like a textbook launch.
I know, right?
Running Hydro.
Learning experience, right? It's something we identify now that will help us later.
And that's why the Zal makes such a great off flank buddy for a aggressive ship like Miswa. The minute I saw the 3 of you staggered there, I knew you weren't going to just hang there. You were going to push me. So that's why you saw me.
If we didn't eat Torps, we'd have to, broadside a Moskva.
Right.
Or broadside a Zal.
You made the right goal as far as deciding to push. You made the right goal of angling against me because at that range I'm far more deadly than Lobster at range.
So,
but I also that's when the minute I saw that move, that's when Lobster was like, "Can I launch torpedoes basically in front of you?" And I was like, "Yes, you can," because that's going to deny that space to you guys. You're either going to push through and take torps or hang back and save and keep me alive longer.
Also, I wouldn't mind mentioning that I'd actually done 100,000 damage by the time MS had died. So that's how fast it was adding up.
It really goes to show guys how powerful when the off flank is done right, how well it works. I mean, you short of having a battleship there, I don't think that any hard push is going to offset that easy. It would have to be a really, really well set up formation to come around there and flush them out without taking a huge loss. It just shows though that is exactly what we're aiming for when we send guys out to the off flank.
A few things that I also want to mention after MS died. Were you guys intentionally sending your Minotaur to spot me first? Because if so, that was good.
Yes, we were. We did not intend for him to broadside you and die.
That was stupid. I admit that.
I should, if you guys want, I might send Emmett Grusky this replay because it was a really good example of.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that.
I want to mention that I only wasted 1 AP salvo that entire game, I think. Everything else was like the perfect time to fire AP. And then also Hypnotic, you switched to AP at one point. I think if you'd kept on firing HE, you guys would have probably at least not all died. I would have run out of health if you just kept on firing HE.
Well, I think didn't Hypnotic land 1 good AP salvo on you? I think, or was that the
maybe
the
one? Let me look at this.
There was one near the end that you both sort of traded big AP
No,
salvos.
Hypnotic didn't land a single good AP salvo. I took 3,000 total from your AP.
Oh, that was that HE salvo?
Yeah, HE salvo.
Okay, that was a nasty HE salvo then. But it was a good one.
The AP, I tried to switch it because you kept fishing back and forth, and I almost timed one volley on your turn, but
I mean that's textbook baiting though. So
that is textbook right there, baiting you into switching. Yeah.
And that's what Beano was talking about. Like, you might 1 out of every 10 times catch the cruiser with a good AP broadside, but for every 1 time, you're wasting 9 AP salvos when they could have been HE salvos that do more damage. Just keep that in mind if you're firing at a fishing baiting cruiser, he's probably not going to give you the best broadside. If you're the one he's trying to kite. Now, if you see a kiting ship who isn't paying attention to you and you can hit him, different story. But
that's kind of what I wanted, because there was 3 ships at the time, so I thought he couldn't really be focusing on just me. He was probably baiting the Minotaur that was only going to be able to shoot AP at him anyway.
There's no point baiting someone who's only able to fire 1 type.
The only time that you're really going to want to shoot AP at a kiting or an off-flank type ship is when they're distracted by something else, whether that's another ship that might have their broadside or torpedoes that are forcing them to turn, something that you know that switching shots, they're not going to turn away in that window of time. If you're not sure, just stick with AP, not AP, HE.
So, I'm sorry, Lobster, was there any point to my shooting you while you were kiting away, or was I better off just keeping you spotted?
You did quite a bit of damage, actually. The only thing is that you should have stayed calm and just stayed bow in.
Yeah. Never commit to a turn in a minnow.
And if you're going to commit to a turn, don't stay there for more than like 15 seconds.
Minnows aren't seen a lot in clan battles. Not that they can't be useful, but when they are, they're sort of like the ambush ship, or used better as like a DD.
Or a DD hunter.
Because in this case, you were only fighting 1 ship, so you could have just stayed bow into him and sort of, try to weather the storm while your teammates help you kill him. In a standard clan battle, you might have just been blapped by another cruiser or a battleship for that.
No, and that was stupid. I was trying to pull back a little bit because I was getting too far ahead. But when I was bow on to you, you were pinging a lot of shots off me.
It's all. I mean,
just throttle back and stay bow on.
How close?
That's what I should have done.
How close? I didn't see the engagement.
He wasn't that close to dying until I hit him. I think I hit him for like that first time.
Yeah, it was about 7 kilometers.
Was he coming towards you, or was he going away?
First engagement, not spread running.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm betting and I think Sandler's probably right. At that point, you've baited. If you bait Lobster into shooting at you, then your job is done. If you go dark, he's got 20. He's got two salvos from your teammates to deal with.
No, that was a mistake, and hopefully I'll learn from it.
Hey, this is Mix. Since I was just watching the stream and observing, can I point out something? So on the flank that Gruski was kiting away from, the Wooster was very interesting to watch because he was not spotted for the longest time, but he opened up in a way that kind of gave himself away, because if you think about the Wooster actually has the lowest detection of all the ships on that flank. He actually could have kept Gruski kind of basically spotted the entire time. Like, you would not have been able to go dark had the Wooster decided to open water instead of kind of hanging back and just slinging shells at the Hindenburg.
Yeah, which is actually a good point. So Chevron in the Zao, I think it was, right?
Yeah, he was in the Zao.
Yes,
No,
he pushed up.
Asked the Worcester to stay over there rather than use him for. He did
So
go further
the
forward
difference
for detection.
Is that the Wooster should have been leading that, because the Wooster outspots the Zao. So the Wooster could have matched his speed in a way that kept me spotted so I couldn't go dark, but he's not spotted at all. I know that's hard to do, but it's something should be tried to work for. Because right now Zao equals Zao, so they're not going to be winning a fight. So Chevron actually got into a bad position early, because me and Bainlin called focus on him right away, because I knew he either had to turn out or keep coming at me, one of the two. Either way, he's going to take a lot of damage and or die. So we focused him. He did the right thing and turned away. That was the right call, but had you guys actually kept the Wooster there spotting me, I wouldn't have been able to go dark and maneuver in ways where I could have gotten broadsides or shot torpedoes, whatever it may be. That would have been a good call. Don't use the Wooster as a Des Moines, I guess. Use the Wooster as a open water, ship to spot, kind of like how the other flank used the Minotaur to spot. The Minotaur outspots the Zao.
We were kind of trying to shake out into a skirmish line with him on that side, moving down, and we didn't really get our line set up when we got spotted.
Gotcha.
I do want to point out both sides had pretty good focus fire for the most part. I don't know if any of you guys on the 1-2 line actually fired at Lobster when you guys were coming around the corner. I think most of you guys were focused on killing me. Red, we don't always torpedo suicide in clan battles, but as far as doing it, you did a pretty good job of keeping your angle against me, keeping your angle against Lobster, and actually getting those, because you easily could have overcommitted to your turn against me, given a broadside of Lobster, and he could have killed you. Same thing as you could have turned way too early to torpedo me, and I could have killed you. But you maintained, if you're going to do that move, which is a last-ditch effort, you did a good job of executing.
Thank you. It was basically a situation of like, okay, I ate the torpedo because but like I had to, because I felt like I would have died even quicker if I turned broadside to you, because you would have just switched to AP and then just
no, absolutely no. You, for the situation you found yourself in, you pulled it off pretty well.
Thank you.
I got one more question. So on the side with MS and Lobster, so we killed the Moskva and we kind of pushed in. At what point would you stop chasing the Zao and just go for the cap and force him to have to come back?
So in like a normal clan battles game, say our other 5 ships were more or less not in the fight over there. Very common, there might be a battleship in the middle, so you're not necessarily safe if the Zao spotting you. If the Zao is not keeping you spotted and you can get that cap, get that cap. That cap's important. If the Zao is more or less out of that fight for the time being, take advantage of it and get the cap off. Now, if he comes back to fight you, if he's fighting, if he's going to come back and pick a fight against 3 ships and he commits to that fight, then you kill him. If he tries kiting away again, don't fall for that bait and chase him, because he's trying to get you to waste time on him.
The other thing to keep in mind is that in a real clan battle, that Zao is going to have a lot of other ships to worry about. You're not going to be as isolated as you are in this situation, because they're not going to be able to run nearly as far as they can when they don't have a battleship playing mid or ships on the other side that can also focus them down.
I'll just add few little things that I should mention. When I disengaged after MS died, I did actually move back towards the cap, and I set myself up in a way that if you guys wanted to go for the cap, you would have spotted me and I would be able to fight. And then also, Mr. Red, you actually weren't in too much danger of me firing AP at you. MS was asking me to fire AP, but that was, in my opinion, a situation where I could easily get baited into shooting your angled broadside. And because you had less than like 16,000 health, I opted to just stick with HE because I knew I could kill you in about 3 salvos.
Okay.
But if he was keeping his angling to you pretty good. If
there was like one salvo where I could have fired AP maybe and been okay.
Right.
It wasn't worth the risk.
No. Overall, I mean, somebody like you guys. I mean, we wanted to bait you into overcommitting both those flanks, and that's what you did. And that was try to just prove what you can make someone. It wasn't about we were never going to win. It was about what we can make you guys pay to take those positions.
All right, I'm gonna probably call it night. I'll send that replay to Gretzky.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I guess we could do a training battle, but it's getting kind of late, so I think we should call it for tonight. I don't want to overdo things. It's already gone on almost a whole hour and a half longer than we usually like to go. So I don't know. Does anybody have last minute questions or topics they want to talk about before we all run away?
Just a real quick. Do we have a list of what preferred ships for tier 10 and the captain builds and ship builds?
That is coming. I'm gonna try to have that out by Friday or Saturday. Clan Battles is Wednesday, and I put out a thing. Whether you're an adopt or not an adopt, everybody gets a free captain respec for all ships, as long as they do it like they did in the past other 3 or 4 seasons. You need to play one Clan Battles game, so don't do that beforehand. Wait until you get the free respec. Nobody's expecting to have their clan battle or their ships ready before Clan Battles. Who cares about the first day so much? Not us. But I will put out a thing hopefully, I mean, I'm hoping by Friday or Saturday, but no later than Tuesday next week. I want to make sure it's out there so everybody has it for Wednesday.
Saturday is a fair day because it gives people time. It gives us time to have Thanksgiving and maybe Black Friday with like family, then be back to work on it like Saturday.
Yeah.
I have the link to the old one if you want to post that.
I'm going to rebuild it.
It's not going to change much, too.
No, I'm going to rebuild it off of that
one more
one.
question, if I may.
Yeah.
Sure.
My next 20 million credits, should I spend it on a Zhao, a Hindenburg, or a Moskva? Or
That's a tough question.
Yamato?
I love this now. It's amazing.
Zhao?
We should probably talk to you individually, or just talk to you like and figure out what your style is. I would say probably Hindi or Zhao.
Okay.
Both are strong clan battles, but they also depend on your play style and your captain.
Well, I've been doing Ibuki a lot lately. I'm kind of liking it.
Okay.
And the rune's okay. I guess maybe it's better with the Hindenburg. I don't know how that works.
We're wrapping up here. Why don't you and I go talk in like the room one or something like that?
Okay.
Anybody else have other questions?
See you guys.
See ya.
Everybody good?
Sounds like
I guess somebody could critique me on how I did in that Zhao game.
I thought you did, though, Chevron. I thought we kind of talked about it. Maybe you missed it, just briefly at least. I think you were in a bad position where you had to be spotting, and Zhao versus Zhao spotting isn't gonna work as well because we're just gonna spot each other. Instantly when you were spotted, I called out to Beanland to focus fire on you. You actually did really well at running away when you did, because if you would have kept going forward, you would have died. We would have kept focusing you down, and Zhao does not have a large HP pool, so you would have died pretty quickly. I think you did that well.
Thank you.
The one thing I would say is commit to your turn sooner. You actually kind of did this like half angle turn thing, and I was able to get a citadel or two on you, and it had if you would have gone, but you kept this angle where I actually could have kept citadeling you if I really wanted to. You were giving just enough angle that I could do it, but just commit to the turn right away and then go instead of doing like a half commit where you like sort of angled to me running away and not fully doing it. So I would just say commit sooner.
Thank you.
Yeah, otherwise like really good. Thanks for joining us, guys, and going
and just
on
so
this
you
topic.
know, too, Chevron, we don't really push with Zhao very often.
Yes,
so
that was an
you're
unnatural
not really
place.
a pushing ship with a Zhao, so you're going to be more the kiting ship.
When a Zhao does have to push, usually it's going to be the back part of the line where it's just going to be farming HE damage from a distance.
I will say that Zhao's actually somewhat effective in the pushing role because it's got good concealment. And also, it's one of the few ships that can easily hit kiting ships.
From an accuracy standpoint, yeah.
And ballistics.
Pushing into a really shitty position with a really shitty boat is always good practice, though, because we do have some times where we, like Tears of the Desert, where we do a BC push, and just because of the way the map lays out, sometimes it's a really tough push, and we gotta teach our guys that it's just something you gotta learn. You just gotta learn the best way to do
Remember
it.
that practice scenario we did is not a real battle, so Zhao likely wouldn't have been in that position to push like that, the directly the way it did. Of course, though, if you were in a clan battle, the Zhao would have likely encountered another Zhao, and it would have been a very similar engagement, so you would have both been stern tanking, but things would have gone down a little bit differently, so try not to get too focused on that.
And if you guys would have had a battleship with you, which, on a normal push, you probably would have battleship support. It would have greatly influenced what Grusky and I would have been able to do in a continuous fire type thing. We would have wanted to go dark probably a lot quicker because for Grusky, he has to keep a little bit, got to be a little bit more cautious because the battleship can get him through the rear. And if I angle too much, the battleship could also get me through the gap in the islands.
Also, if the battleship's on the other side of the map looking at us, shooting at us, it's going to be hard for us to angle towards that battleship and you guys. So that all changes everything. We just wanted to showcase how powerful a decent off flank can be, really more than anything, and try to drill that into people's heads because we're just trying to focus for the basics. We're not trying to, focus on small little details. We just want people to start thinking about these things on their own without a shot caller telling them to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm gonna kill the stream. I'm still be here for a minute to talk if you guys want.